Good evening. Hello, everyone. My name is Karthik, and welcome to the fifth day of Tech Drill Web Dev 101. Now, let's quickly get started. Today's topic is Introduction to JavaScript and Code Labs. So, we are on the fifth day, and I hope you are pretty excited. I hope you are pretty excited with what we have learned and what we are going to learn further. So we are on the fifth day. Today we'll be learning about JavaScript. We'll be also seeing some codes, and tomorrow we'll be implementing JavaScript mostly. So we'll be building one small project tomorrow, and also on the seventh day we'll be building one project which will cover HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. So let's get started. Okay. So introduction to JavaScript. Now, today we are going to see more main four things. First is what is JavaScript, why do we learn JavaScript, how to use JavaScript, and then hands-on learning with JavaScript. So, uh, you might be aware with C, C++, Python, Java, C Sharp, and those kind of programming languages. So the main concepts always remain same, but the syntax generally gets changed. So it won't be very difficult for you if you have previous programming experience, and if even if you are very beginner, then also it is not some rocket science. So it's pretty easy, and let's get started. So intro to JavaScript. Now JavaScript is basically a very lightweight, interpreted, high-level programming language. So it doesn't get compiled; it is getting interpreted. So you do not have to compile JavaScript. You are just like similar to C++ or Java. So it is getting interpreted, and it is also a high-level programming language. So you can write JavaScript if you know the basics of English. Next thing is that JavaScript is prototype based. It also follows multi-paradigm, and it is single threaded. So if you know, for an example, Java, so you might have learned about multi-threading also in C++, but JavaScript is single threaded. It does not use multi-threading concept. Another thing is that JavaScript supports object-oriented programming and functional programming styles. So both the styles are supported in JavaScript. So that is why JavaScript is multi-paradigm. JavaScript also it is also general purpose scripting language, and it conforms to the ECMAScript specification. So the ECMAScript specification is basically a blueprint for creating a scripting language, and JavaScript is basically an implementation of that blueprint. So let's not go very deep onto ECMAScript, but let's focus right now on JavaScript. JavaScript also runs on browser as well as server. So we'll see where and how it runs in the next module. So let's see why to learn JavaScript. So what do you think? Is Java and JavaScript similar, or are those both very different from each other? Correct. So Java and JavaScript are very different from each other. So let's see what are the capabilities of JavaScript. So JavaScript basically enables you to create dynamically updating content. You can also control multimedia on the web pages. You can also animate images. You can also add animation to web pages, and you can pretty much do everything else using JavaScript. You can also add and delete HTML tags. You can also add styles and delete styles from using JavaScript. So you can do pretty much everything using JavaScript. It is also known as the programming language of the browser. So when we were discussing HTML, so HTML is not a programming language, but JavaScript is a programming language. So today JavaScript can not only execute only in the browser, but it can also execute on the server. So earlier it was only able to execute in the browser, but nowadays we have Node.js. So Node is basically a runtime engine for JavaScript to run on servers, and server basically computing machines. It can be also a computer. So now that is why JavaScript can run on any device that has a special program which is called as JavaScript engine. So the browser has an embedded engine which is sometimes called as a JavaScript virtual machine, and all different browsers have different JavaScript virtual machines or the JavaScript engine. Uh, Chrome works on V8 engine, which is maintained by Google itself. And now coming to the capabilities of JavaScript. So JavaScript can be used to build interactive UI using front-end frameworks like React, Vue, Angular, and many more. So when we say interactive is something which is which is different for every user. You can also have user interactions and all kind of interactions. So that cannot be mostly done using just pretty HTML and CSS, but JavaScript adds a lot of capabilities. Also, React, Vue, and Angular are very famous among the JavaScript community for front end, and we can also build very fast server-side applications and full-stack applications using Node, Express, and a whole lot of frameworks of JavaScript. Moreover, if you want to build mobile applications or if you want to build desktop applications, then we can also do that by using React Native and Ionic for mobile applications and Electron JS for desktop applications. So this shows that how vast is the JavaScript ecosystem, and that is why everyone is today buzzing about JavaScript. So coming to the next part, how to use JavaScript. So there are mainly three ways to use JavaScript. We can use the we can use JavaScript inside the head tag. We can also use JavaScript inside body tag, and we can also use JavaScript using externally adding script file. So let us see a quick demo on how to use that. Let me create a web project and share my screen. Okay, I hope my screen is visible to you. So let's create a web project. First of all, every project starts with the index.html. Let us have the HTML. Okay, let's say hello world. Now coming to the script part. So if, for an example, if you want to use JavaScript in our web project, then we simply add the script tag, and we can add JavaScript inside the head tag. We can also use the script tag in our body tag. So here also JavaScript will run. But whenever we want, so when we have a huge set of scripting files, when we have huge scripts, then we generally use when then we generally add script to the end of the body tag. So first of all, we want all the HTML and CSS to get loaded on the web on the front end, and then we want the script tag to be attached because scripting like JavaScript is an interpreted language, so it takes time if you attach the script at the top part, and that makes the web experience slow. So it is better to use JavaScript on the uh, bottommost part. There's also another way to use JavaScript which is generally preferred. So we can say script.js, and we can add the script tag using script, and let us say src equals to script.js. So mostly this way is preferred when we add the external scripts, and see if I want to share this script with you, then you can also implement the same script in your project. So that is one of the capability of JavaScript. Now let's quickly see what do we have next. Okay, so now let's see the hands-on learning part of JavaScript, which is the today's core topic. Let me share in the project. Okay, I hope the screen is visible to you. For an example, if you want to run JavaScript on our browser, so what we can quickly do is that we can say Chrome Developer Tools, and here we need to navigate to the console. So if you want to quickly test out JavaScript on our browser, then we can say let, you can just simply say that variable name, let's say first name equals to Karthik, and simply print out Karthik. So JavaScript can run on the browser part also, and we also have snippets. We, where do we have snippets? Yeah. So in the sources tab, in the sources navigation, we have snippets. So if we quickly want to run JavaScript here also, we can say, okay, okay, let's use this one. So we can create a new file and we can write JavaScript over here. So let's say variable first name equals to Karthik, and let's say console.log first name. We can run this, and this will also run here. So here we are using the V8 engine of Chrome, and if we want to run this in our project, then we can create the index.js file and run that on our machine. To run JavaScript on our machine, we generally need Node, but if we are using that in web projects, then we can simply use that on the browser. Right now, I'm not showing you here because we are not learning JavaScript for the backend part, but soon we'll be able to execute JavaScript on the machines too when we build the backend part. So right now, let's start with JavaScript. I'm pretty excited to show you the capabilities. So the screen is visible, right? The code is visible, or should I zoom in? Visible. Okay. Okay. Perfect. So now variables in JavaScript. So we generally use var keyword to declare variables and define variables in JavaScript. So let's say var first name, we just need to use var. We do not have to add any data type. For example, if we were using C++, then we generally use integer or any other data type. But here we do not have to define data type when we are declaring a variable. And for to assign any values, then we just simply need to use the assignment operator. So we can say var first name, and then we can say first name equals to Karthik, or else we can also say that var first name equals to Karthik. So both the things are pretty easy. Var keyword was used earlier, but we discussed something about ECMAScript, right, at the starting of the session. So there are different versions of JavaScript, and the version which was launched in 2015 is stated as ES6, which is very famous among the JavaScript community, and this is also considered as the industry standard right now. So ES6 concept, when it was launched, so let keyword was introduced. Now let me explain you the difference between let and var keyword. Now let keyword, there are three main properties that it should be declared before use. So for an example, if I do not use this part and I simply create first name equals to Karthik, this will work. But when I want to use let keyword, I have to use let last name equals to Karthik that way. Then it cannot be redeclared. So let's say I create var first name, then I say first name equals to Karthik. Then I can also again recreate var first name. But in let keyword, if I say let last name equal to Karthik, and I say let last name equals to something else, if I redeclare this, if I'm assigning some different value to the same variable for the second time, then this will not work uh, in the let part when we use the let keyword. So that is the main difference between var and let, and that is why let is generally used nowadays because of ES6 update. Coming to the next thing. So now let us see what exactly is this code. So seeing on the first line, we see that let x equals to 10. So here we are assigning the value 10 to x. So let me re-explain that. We can assign any kind of values. We can assign string, we can assign numbers, or any kind of values. We do not have to worry about what we are assigning. So let's say let x equals to 10, then console.log. So when we want to print something, for example, we generally use printf in C++, we use print function in Python. But when we want to see any kind of output in our console, we use console.log, and in the bracket we just send the variable. We can also send any kind of string or number or any kind of things, but here we are using the variable. So I'm sending console.log x, and here the value of x is going to be printed as 10. Here it is 10, and here it is going to be printed 10. Now for an example, if we have brackets, for example, if we have any kind of loop or if else or any kind of brackets we have, then here we are going to redefine the same variable using the same name. So here let's say we have let x equals to 10, and here we have let x equals to 2. So we can only use the x equals to 2 inside these brackets. This x equals to 2 will not work outside brackets. So here if we say console.log x, then here it will print the value equals to 2. But if we use the same variable, then it will consider the one which is outside the block. So it is having block level scope. I hope var and let is clear to you. If you have any questions, please let me know in the chat. And let's quickly see what is const. So const keyword was also introduced in ES6, the 2015 version, and its features are also pretty similar to let. So it cannot be redeclared and it cannot be reassigned. So if I say that const pi equals to some value, then if I want to reassign any kind of value, then this will not work. The reassignment will work in let, but it will not work in const. Let's quickly see how. Okay, let's say let first name equals to xyz. Let's say okay, okay. Let's say last name equals to xyz. Then we can change the value to be, let's say, pqr. But if I say that let's last name equals to abc, then this should not work when we use the strict version of JavaScript. And let's see cons. So if we say, let's we copy paste this. Okay, okay. When we say const equals to pi, and if you want to change the value, then it says the assignment to constant variable is not possible. So this is the characteristics of let and const. Now coming to the data types. So uh, JavaScript has very dynamic types. So if you want, for an example, if you say that let score equals to 16, and if you want to assign any kind of different data type to this variable, that would work. And primarily, we have five different type of data types. We have numbers. So for an example, if we say let score equals to 16, or if we say 16.5, then both are similar when compared to data types. So numbers are with or without decimals, and then comes Boolean part. The Boolean is having generally two values, true and false, and please note that it is uh, all in the lower case. It's not, the T should not be in uppercase. Next, we have strings. So strings is the data type in JavaScript. So we don't have any array of characters or anything like that. We directly have a string data type in JavaScript. And then we have arrays. So generally C++ and those arrays are little different from this one. So here we can have multiple data types in an array. So an array is index based. So here we have a string, here we have a number, here we have a JavaScript object, and we can fetch these values using we can say cars, and then we can say 0, 1, and 2. So the array starts from 0 index, and we'll see in detail more about arrays and objects. Lastly, we have JavaScript object. So object is nothing but it's a little different from array. So here we can have let's say x. Let's say you if you might have learned about class and object. So object is basically when you want x dot first name, x dot last name. When you want to have different properties of one particular thing, then we can have objects. And if you want to access objects, then we can use x dot first name, and we can retrieve the value from that. We'll also learn more about objects later today. Let's quickly start with operators. Before going next, I just want to run a quick check. Any questions? Okay. Okay. So coming to the next part, we have operators. So we basically have arithmetic operators, which we generally have in any kind of programming language. So here also we have different operators. We have addition, we have subtraction, we have multiplication, we have exponential. So exponent is basically when we want 2 raised to 3, then that is the exponent part. Then we also have division and we have modulus. So if we want the remainder of any kind of division, then we generally use modulus. We also have increment and decrement operator, and these are the main arithmetic operators in JavaScript. I don't want to take too much of time in pretty basic things, but I want you to create some kind of calculator function or calculator program using JavaScript, so that you can see what are the capabilities in JavaScript and how you can use operators in that. If you have created, that's great. And let's see what is next. Next up, we have assignment operator. So if you wanna assign one values from one variable to another, then we can assign in this way. So these are the symbols. These are all the operators. This is how we actually write, and this is how the operation is performing on the backend. So if we say that x equals to y, this is very basic. Then let's say that x plus equals to y. So this is on the backend part. It is like x equals to x plus y. Same goes with all such operators. Here all the arithmetic operators are same. We just have to follow the style and pattern of how it's going to work. Okay, and this is not very confusing. It is very easy to understand. So let's quickly go to the next part. If you have any questions, I'll wait for 10-20 seconds and then we can proceed. Okay, coming to the next part, loops. So loops are generally used when we want to perform a block of code over and over again with different values. So let's say I want to change the status of all the users, and if I have to do some kind of repetitive task, then we generally don't use uh, like for an example, if we want to perform 5 lines of code for 100 times, then we are not going to copy paste the 5 lines of code for multiple times. We can use loops in JavaScript, and we can recreate the same thing. So there are mainly 5 types of loops in JavaScript, but for the very beginner part, we are only going to see for loop right now, and this is the main format of for loop. So if we say that uh, how to write for loop, let's see that we have to first of all use the for keyword. Then we have brackets, and inside brackets we have three things. We have initialization, we have condition, and then we have increment or decrement. So what are these? Initialization means that we need to use one variable which is going to be treated inside that. So let's say we are going to use I. Sorry, here it won't be integer I, it would be let I. This is my mistake. But let's say for let I equals to 0. So first of all, at the very initial stage, we are having I equals to 0, and this code of this block of code will run until this condition is met. So this block will be executed whenever this condition is going to meet, and on once we run this block of code, then we are going to increment the value of I. So let's say when I equals to 0, then I is less than 5, then we are going to console log 0. On the next part, if we say that I equals to 1, then it is going to increment. Then we say I equals to 1, then I 1 is less than 5. So we are again going to print console log 1. Then comes I equals to 2. 2 is less than 5. So we are going to have console.log 2. Then it is going to increment. Then we have 3, 4, and 5, and so on and so forth. So when we have 5, so 5 is not less than 5, right? 5 is equal to 5. When we have 5 less than 5 condition, it is going to be false. And when it is going to be false, it will go outside the for loop. So the for loop will not run. Next up, we have conditional statements. So whenever we want to check conditions, whenever we want to have different kind of conditions, then we can use if, else, if, and else. So if this condition is going to be true, then this line, this block of code is going to be executed if the first condition is going to be true. If this condition is going to be false, then this condition will be checked. If this condition will be true, then this condition is going to run. And if both of these conditions are false, then this condition is going to run. So this is how the conditional statements are there in JavaScript. These are also very basic when compared to any kind of programming language. The concept is similar in all the languages. Here, the syntax is also very pretty similar to all of the languages. Any questions so far? Okay. So coming to the next part, switch statements. So let's say that here we have condition 1, we have condition 2. For an example, if we have multiple conditions, if we have let's say very huge number of conditions, at that time we it's very lengthy to write if else, else if, else if, else if, else if, and else part. So what we can do is that we can generally define different case. So whenever if we, so here in the expression, if we say that if we just pass in x, then this code is going to be run. If we pass in y, then this code going is to be run. And if we do not pass anything, if it is not going to match any kind of values, then the default code block is going to run. So this is the switch statement which are generally used if we have too much of if else if conditions. So any questions? Do you need any demo? Okay. Uh, switch statement or else if statement? Okay. I'll start with switch statement. Okay. Let's see how it actually works. So here, for an example, if we have x, okay, here let us say console.log x, then here let's say copy this, okay, okay. So, hmm. So for an example, if we have x over here right now, oh, let's say some let's see using the variable option. But first of all, let us understand. if we pass any values over here, if we say that we have x over here, if this and this condition is matching, then this line of code is going to work. If this and this condition is matching, then this line of code is going to work. And if nothing is going to match, then this line of code is going to work. This is how this is how it is different from else if statement. So if we see else if, right, so it is going to be in this kind of format, that this is going to run first, then this is going to run first, and then this one. So both are used for the same purpose, but both are written in a different manner. We'll see some examples tomorrow. So we are going to build the project, and at that time, let's see how we can actually use if else and switch statements in a project, and how both of them are different. Then we have JavaScript object. So we discussed about JavaScript object earlier in the data types part. So for an example, if we want to define any object, then let's say const person equals to, then we have curly brackets. We have three different properties. We have first name, we have last name, and then we have age. For an example, if we want to access any values, so let's say if we say that person dot first name, then we can access the John value. Here we have the John value. Then uh, if we also want to check the values similar to array, then we can use person, and inside square brackets we can simply send the property, and then we can get the value. So there are two methods. We can use the person dot first name, or else we can use person and inside brackets we can use last name. After that, coming to the console operations. So we already saw console.log, uh, console.log function. So whenever we want to print something inside console, then there are different ways we can print this. For example, if we just want to log some data, then we simply need to use the log function. But if you want to show some kind of error, for an example, if we are building a project and if we want to tell the developer that this is some kind of error, this is producing some kind of error, then we need to use the error. This the error function will show something different than log. It will show a warning, and also for the warning also, if we want to just show any kind of warnings, if we don't want to show errors, then we can use the warn function. It will have different icons for error warn. Coming to the next thing, info. So info, we can also log any kind of information using console.info, and it will be presented in a different format than log error warn function. And if you want to showcase a table, a whole table, then we just need to pass array of values, and then we can see a table inside the JavaScript console. So coming down to array, before going to array, any questions? Okay. So array is basically a kind of data type which can store multiple values inside a single variable. And uh, uh, and arrays in JavaScript can also have different types of data inside an array. So here, let us see how we can quickly initialize an array. So if we say that const class equals to Saab, Volvo, and BMW, so this is how we can generally initialize an array. If we want to access the values, then we can access the values using the index. So here the index starts with 0. So here the index starts with 0. So if we say cars 0, then we can access Saab. If we say cars 1, then we can access Volvo, and if we say cars 2, then we can access BMW. We can also change the values, and we can also access the values from an array to any kind of variable. So let's say let x equals to cars dot 0, then the value of x will be Saab. So these are the very basic operations of an array, and then we have different methods. So if you want to check that, for an example, if we have already created this array, right, and if you want to add or delete any values from the array, then we have different methods for that. Let's see what are those methods. So we have the push method. So for an example, if we have an array called fruits, so fruits is having banana, orange, apple, and mango. So for an example, if you want to add a value, uh, if you want to add a value to the end of the array, if you want to add any value after mango, then we can add using the push function. So if we say that fruits dot push then kiwi, then this will add kiwi to fruits at the last part, at the end of the array. uh, then pop method. So if we want to remove the last element from the array, and if we want to return the removed element, so let's say const fruits equals to banana, orange, apple, mango, and if we say fruits dot pop, then this will remove the last element from the array. And if we even if we want to assign all these values into any other variable, then also we can say that let x equals to fruits dot pop, and then all the values will be shifted to x after mango is removed. Then shift method. So for an example, if we want to remove the first element, we want to remove the first element from the array, then we need to use the fruits dot shift function. So again, if we want to assign the values after removing the first element, then we can simply say that let x equals to fruits dot shift, and orange, apple, mango values will be inside the x variable. And lastly, we have unshift method. So if let's say if you want to add a new element to the beginning of an array, we have banana, orange, apple, mango, and if we want to add lemon, then we can add using the unshift value, unshift function, and that will add lemon at the beginning of the array. So any questions? Any questions so far in array methods? Okay. Then we have two different methods for length and sort. So for an example, if we want to calculate the length of any array, then we just need to use array name dot length, and this will return the length of the array. So here if we say const fruit equals to banana, orange, apple, mango, then we can say that the fruits dot length, the length of the array fruits is going to return 4. And if we say that if we want to sort the array, then we just simply need to use the fruits dot we just need to simply use the sort function, and we can use that fruits dot sort, and it will return as apple, banana, mango, and orange. So it is sorted alphabetically. So these are the main two methods which are generally used when we use array, and there are a lot other methods which you can later check on, because JavaScript is too much vast as we saw today, right? So there's a lot of learnings that you need to do in JavaScript, and these are pretty basic functions and functionalities which a beginner needs to know. So any questions till now? Any questions so far? Okay. Can we change the values dynamically? Yes. Yes, we can change the values. Okay. Uh, Functions in JavaScript. So this is the last part, but very important part in JavaScript. So function is nothing but a block of code. So if we want to perform a particular task, let's say if you want to perform uh, okay, let's say login functionality and logout functionality, then we can define that we want a login function and then we want a logout function. So we generally club the code part into different functions and then we use different functions whenever and wherever those are required. If you want to perform this multiple times also, we just need to call the function. So let's see how we can do that. We simply need to declare a function. So here, let's say we have function, then we need to use the function keyword, which is a keyword in JavaScript. Then we need to define the name of the function, that can be any name, and we have different types of function. Here, let's say we have different parameters. So if we are having variables outside the function, and if you want the variables to be passed inside the function, then we need to use parameters. We'll see what is this type of function, but this is going to be the general syntax of a function. Then we can have the code which needs to be executed inside the curly braces. And then whenever we want to call a function, we just need to simply write the function name, and then we need to have parentheses around that. If you want to add parameters to the function, then we can simply add parameters too. We'll see how. So this is a very simple function. So there are no parameters in this function. So this is a simple function which is executing some kind of code. Okay, this is executing some kind of block of code. Now then we have function with parameters. So uh, if we have let p1 equals to 5, let p2 equals to 10, and then if we have a function, then we can say that log product is the name of the function. We have two different parameters, p1 and p2, which are going to be outside the brackets, and we can use those variable inside the brackets using parameters. So if we say console.log p1 star p2, so this will multiply p1 into p2, and this will log the product of p1 and p2. If we want to return something, so let's say if we want let x equals to return product, and if we want the function to return something, then we can also have a function with parameters and a return type. So if we don't want to log directly inside the function, but if we want to log outside the function, then we can return the values. And there is also something called arrow functions. So for an example, if we don't want to use the longer syntax, then we can also say let hello equals to this way. So this is the syntax of arrow function. So here we do not have any parameters. Then we have an arrow key, and then we have curly braces, and inside that we have the block of code. If it is single line function, then we do not need to have curly braces. So we can directly write let hello equals to parenthesis, then an arrow key, and then we can directly write return hello world. So these are the main topics which are needed when we want to get started with JavaScript, and most of the part is covered for today. And if you have any questions, we can take up that. Any questions so far in any topic which we covered today? Okay, can you tell again about the object? Sure. Okay, object. So let me first explain you what and where we generally use object. So for an example, if we say let's have an example of cars. So we know that car is the general type. Okay. Then we have different brands inside cars. So if we have let's say we have Maruti Suzuki, we have Hyundai, then we have Renault. So some of the properties are going to be the same. For example, the car name is going to be one such property, then the weight is going to be one such property, then we have, for example, mileage is going to be one such property, the type is going to be one such property, which can be petrol or diesel. So here you can see that uh, all the data is having some similar kind of type. Okay, it is having a similar kind of format. So at that time, what we can do is that we can say const, we can say that const Hyundai equals to then an object, and inside that we can say that the brand is, sorry, the name of the car is something, some we can say any kind of car. Then we have then we have the weight property of the car, we have mileage, and all different properties which are going to be the same uh, for for each and every car. So this is how it differentiates from array. So uh, yeah, so that's the main thing. Did you get that? Okay. Okay. Any questions? So thank you. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. See you tomorrow. Uh, we'll be building a project using JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, and I'm pretty excited for that.